Just a minute. So, welcome to this session, Udyog Care Talks, being presented by Society of Industrial and Organization Psychology. This is a new initiative of the society, and I welcome Dr. Arun Bhadoria from uh, Amity Business School, Lucknow. And let me introduce about the society. Then uh, we'll introduce our resource person of today's Udyog Care Talks. The Society of Industrial and Organizational Psychology was conceived during the conference of Indian Academy of Applied Psychology in the year 2017, when me, along with Professor A.P. Singh, some faculty members from Faculty of Department of Psychology, SNDT Women's University, Aligarh Muslim University, IIT Kharagpur. We met together, we talked about uh, a new platform which we wanted to start, and this society got itself registered in Varanasi as Society of Industrial and Organizational Psychology in January 2018. Then onwards, we started organizing congresses in the name of Indian Congress of Industrial and Organizational Psychology. We have organized congresses in Department of Psychology, University of Rajasthan. We organized the second congress in Amherst University, Baroda, in Vadodara. Then third congress uh, uh, last year in the uh, Amritsar. Next, we have planned to organize in Hisar in the this year itself. So, if we get relief from this COVID-19, then we'll be organizing this accordingly. Dates are not yet finalized. We will do it. And this initiative of Udyog Care Talks came in our uh, discussion in the uh, executive council meeting of the society, so that we can bring some renowned personalities who are working in the area of human resource management, in the area of industrial and organizational psychology, not only in India, but we plan to get some resource persons from abroad as well who have global exposures. And we are in talk with several uh, faculty members, several practitioners who are in touch, and in future we'll be organizing those also. This is the initiative of Society of Industrial and Organizational Psychology in the name of Udyog Care Talks. And Udyog Care Talks will be talking about different issues, like today we are going to talk about the entrepreneurship. In the next, we are planning for ethical issues, then corporate social responsibilities. So different issues are in the pipeline which we are going to organize in future. So with this brief introduction of the Society of Industrial and Organizational Psychology and its initiatives which we are going to take in future, I would request Ms. Garima Yadav, who is a research scholar in the Department of Psychology, Banaras Hindu University, and she is working in the area of industrial and organizational psychology. the work is on job crafting and its relationships with the performance in the organizations. So with this brief, I would request Ms. Garima Yadav to introduce the speaker of the day, Dr. Arun Bhadoria.
A very good morning to each one of you. Thank you, Sandeep sir, for inviting me to this webinar. I would like to introduce Dr. Arun Bhadoria. He is assistant professor and program leader at MET Business School. He is the head of document verification cell, MET admissions, at MET University campus. He is engaged in institutional and professional development activities at CORE. Dr. Bhadoria holds several positions in academic administrations, also like proctorship, admissions, academics, document verification cells, etc. He is actively engaged in industry academic interface as coordinator. He is an active researcher. He has received several honors and accolades such as Lead Lecture Award and is member of editorial board and reviewer to various journals of repute. In the last few years, he has been associated with several projects such as World Food Logistics Organization, which is WFLO, a Melinda Gates Foundation USA project in collaboration with AUUP in 2009, and an ICSSR project on disaster management in 2008. He has also been associated with International Labour Organization project on child labor 2005, etc. Mr. Arun is associated with various academic associations such as Bharti Arthik Shodh Sansthan, that is BASS, Allahabad, Agricultural Economics Research Associations, Indian Society of Agricultural Marketing, and Indian Economic Association, Indian Society of Agribusiness Management, and State Land Use Board, Government of UP, etc. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Arun Bhadoria to please come and address us.
So, Dr. Sandeep, shall I present now?
Please present.
Okay, sir. So, it's good morning to you all present here in this session. This is my greatest privilege, and I'll say that I have been here. This, my friend Dr. Tushar Singh from your department
Oh my God.
uh, has been with me here in for almost 1.5 years. Became a good friends then. So thank you, Dr. Sandeep, for inviting me. This session already played by 25 minutes. So I rapidly start the session. In this session, I will start with the lecture, and then you know got the story which I provided earlier.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope that that was provided to you all. And after opinion on this short story, I will come back to the all activity, and on the basis of that activity, we'll prepare a little, and after that, and I would like to have the feedback. So let me start lecture here. The main theme of this lecture is entrepreneurship opportunities in emerging technologies. I'm very much sure that few are familiar with technology, but to start per se, technology, are like principles. They are the rules. They are the ideas and in fact they guide us, they direct us, and they direct the production of the goods and services. Okay, COVID-19, you are witness to that in what way we have started the production of various goods and services. Secondly, when emerging technology, so it means thing which is coming from up, that is somewhere coming from the back, somewhere emerging from the background. Okay, so many a times technologies which were earlier not realized, but now they are coming into prominence. Earlier they were non-existent for us, but now they are existing for us, like that IT and specifically this online chatting, etc. Earlier, this technology were in background. We were not used to give them so much importance. But of course, we are and during 19, we could manage this. So you can understand that what is the importance of emerging technologies in today's world. But this is not the end of the emerging technologies. Emerging technologies, many times, they are characterized by their application, and which is unique, which is a novelty, uh, and they have a prominence, they have their impact. However, sometimes you will observe that these emerging technologies, which are very unique in nature, they are bringing with them the uncertainty, ambiguity, because we are not familiar with them. So in the beginning, we just see them, we observe them as uncertainty. But later on, as we understand them, we develop insight about that, then this uncertainty becomes a certainty. Like what is happening about the digital technology right now during this period. So emerging technologies may include a variety of technologies which earlier were not surfaced, but they surface later on the basis of their application. Like educational technology, right now we are experiencing the day when we were told that students will not be coming to the university and research scholars will not be coming to the university, and after 6 days of time we were informed that you will work from home. So at that time we realized the strength, we realized the potential of digital technology, that on 18th of March we started online classes, and then we are having the events and everything on the online. And you can see that me and you are both are meeting each other without moving a which actually gives the larger scope to the emerging technologies. But whenever you have technologies which are emerging from the background, they are in fact guided by, driven by inventions and innovations. Invention is a very common word which you are using from right from beginning from past 100 and 200 years. But innovation is something which has emerged just a few years back. So when innovation we use as a word, as a term, then what actually it represents? It represents the new ideas. It represents the rules, the basic thing which is actually used to define the technology. The rules and ideas which actually some practical utility to anything which we are using earlier. So innovation actually upgrades the technology. Innovation actually makes the technology more user friendly. Innovation actually opens the horizons of the growth for you. Okay, so inventions and innovations are always behind the emergence of the emerging technologies. But you cannot say that only inventions and innovations are the driving force for the emerging technology. Along with the main prominent thing, that is the change. Whenever you face any change, and because you want to oppose that change, you just try to find out something which can help you out, which can help you to pull yourself out of that situation. And here comes the change functioning. Like in our management, we study management of change. Whenever change happens, and as you know that change is the inevitable thing, it is inevitable, always will come, you cannot stop it. During specifically in the COVID-19 situation, you can easily observe that change was there, change came, and you handle the change, you manage the change, and now you are enjoying the change, and you are learning very fast to live with this change, and you are making this change an strength for you and weapon for you. So people most of the time they use many to utilize the potential of the change to transform their lives, to make their life of more quality, to increase the growth opportunities, and of course using various new technologies, various new things which earlier were not there. Like who have thought that someday we will be facing each other, right? Like this, we will be in a session, talking to each other, seeing each other, and working for each other without being face to face, but we will be face to face. So you can say that we are very close to each other. We are just a few centimeters away, but still we can say that we are kilometers away. Okay, so it was not a reality some 100 years back, but now during 20th century, you saw all the changes, and in 21st century, in the period of 10 to 12 years, you saw many things which are changing, which have changed your life. If you move on further, that whenever you have change, then you need something which actually drives you forward, and that is your knowledge. Sometimes you observe that knowledge actually becomes a weapon for you, because when the knowledge based systems come into force, then of course it becomes a weapon for you. So quite often you observe that human beings, they always try to search for the novelty, they try to search for the new things, they just want to do things in a new way. So that actually enriches their knowledge, that actually gives them opportunity to innovate, and that gives an opportunity to find something new. And because this is a zeal is there in one's personality, and all of you are psychologists, I think you can better understand. I'm not a student of the psychology, but definitely I can say that this is there in the human personality, and which actually give them potential to innovate. So knowledge based system actually plays a major role in the innovation and the inventions. Uh, Let me come to directly to the entrepreneurship. Whenever you are going to have some business, and then definitely you are guided by some idea. There can be a umpteen number of idea. There can be a unlimited number of idea. Like block consulting, computer repair and maintenance, which actually is there from last 30 years, and right now huge changes are being observed in this thing. And data entry is very much into the application right now. Internet search, support, social media, consulting, video production, web design. But I would like to focus more upon the Internet of Things. And Internet of Things, I think this is going to be a reality of the near future. In the coming years, definitely you will be in the era of the IoT. You know, IoT comprises industrial Internet of Things. Of course, this has come into place. This is playing a major role, and you people are directly attached with the industries and the organizations, of course, and you are very familiar with the industrial IoT and smart cities. I think you are familiar with the with this term also. So there can be the many things, many services which are emerging just because IoT is there, Internet of Things is there, and that's why many opportunities and many business ideas are coming up, and people are just trying to invest on them. There can be a different travel solutions also as the main business idea. There can be a web series, food takeaways, many extended opportunities are always there in this field. So in the emerging technologies, you have various business idea which can guide you further. Okay, but sometimes you find that some opportunities which were not there visible on the surface, but they are emerging due to the application of some visible business idea and some visible systems. And these are the embedded opportunities. Like you can see that the cab services are semi-online or partially offline, you can say that they are not 100% online. They are, of course, making their business with the online platforms. On mobile app, you book the cab, but you utilize it as a physical source. So here, this is an embedded opportunity. This is not 100% online. This is not 100% offline. This is a semi, you can say, partially offline and partially online. And likewise, there can be a various distribution models also. There can be many things in the supply chain which are actually uh, partially in the online mode and partially in the offline mode. So there can be a various opportunities which are not reflected in this section, extended opportunities, neither in the business idea section on the basis of the emerging technologies, but they are coming up, they are emerging because we used to think, we used to find something new because it makes us very exciting, and this is very exciting, this makes us very much interested into that. So always there are embedded opportunities in which we can multiply one opportunity into the 5. So this multiplier effect also works. Like utilizing the app services, you can see various youth, many of you are here. They are utilizing Facebook services, they are utilizing WhatsApp services, and having their businesses, successfully running. I can name many, but just because copyright issues are there, I cannot tell. But of course, one network marketing is there. That is a safe shop. These people are having their business with the help of mobiles also, mobiles only, specifically mobile. And there are many persons who are running various businesses utilizing the mobile only. They are always on the WhatsApp. They are always using the calling facility, video calling facility, and they are having their business. So one opportunity in the emerging technologies can open up many opportunities for you if you wanna to establish any business. Uh, so there can be operational opportunities also, like you can see that various online platforms. Okay, uh, in the case of Amazon, or Flipkart, or whosoever, Alibaba, they are supplying you the product at your doorstep. Just imagine that how they are supplying. They are using services of the various individuals in your vicinity, whom you can contact directly, but you are not going to them directly. Rather, you are taking an indirect route through Amazon or Flipkart to contact them. And these can be a courier services, these can be a warehouses, these can be some other agencies, security agencies, there can be a paste making companies, there can be a chemical making companies, there can be many packaging companies, there can be many things Okay, there can be some companies providing the factoring services. So there can be a multiple opportunities, multiple operational opportunities, just because one Amazon or one Flipkart is functioning in that area. Okay, so that's the beauty of innovation. That's the beauty of the emerging technologies. And here you can have multiple pricing and packaging possibilities. Uh, I can quote one example. I think all of you are familiar with that example. Uh, Many times when you visited a restaurant, just before this lockdown, of course, during lockdown, all restaurants are closed. Then you used to see that while you are sitting on a table and you have ordered something to the person, some food, then you can see that lots of packets, food packets are being delivered just before making your order. So you will be wondering that for whom these packets are being supplied, and they are supplied just for the Zomato, just for the Swiggy, and any other food app services. So there can be a multiple pricing. For Zomato, pricing is different. For other packings, for the normal packings, food pricing is different, and the packaging pricing is different. And you are sitting in a restaurant, for you, the pricing is different. So there can be a different packaging possibilities. There can be a multiple pricing there. And another example which I can quote that there are many various online portals on which you can purchase or sell materials. They are giving you a platform to sell your product. Suppose you don't have any online website, online portal, but you have product and you just want to market your product on some website, then you can register there. Okay, and you can price accordingly, and then these shops will accommodate your product, and you can sell that product using their platform, and they will charge you accordingly, right? There are many Maso and the Safe Shop and the Amazon and the Flipkart. Many of them are there which are providing such kind of facilities. So there can be multiple pricing and packaging facilities. Uh, so far, I think, proven the importance of technologies. The first and biggest importance of technology is that it increases the possibilities of the effective and efficient communication with all the stakeholders. It makes operations very, very effective and economical. Just imagine that you are going directly to the shop and you are just ordering something online. While you are ordering something online, it gives uh, a chance for many people to have their own business. The courier, the supplier, the packager, and the company itself. And by that means, operational efficiency and economy improves. Many people, they get job, they get their business, they get their earning. At the same time, you just increase your comfort. You can increase your competitiveness, and you can increase your ability to perform your task in more better way because you are having food at your table. It's very important for the working professionals. Earlier, we at the lunchtime, if we are not carrying lunch from our home, we are not carrying tiffin, then we were forced to move to the cafeteria or the mess or some food outlet, But now it's a very simple thing. You can order on the phone and food is available. We are not supposed to go anywhere, and that time we can utilize for the betterment of our performance. So this gives the effectiveness to your ability. So in that way, technology becomes very important. And another thing that is related with the shared spaces. I think all of you are, because you are industry professionals, you are very much familiar with the shared spaces, shared office, and that is happening in the Delhi, in the even Lucknow. We are having that thing. we have many places where we have shared offices, and in the Bengaluru, in the Hyderabad, Pune, everywhere, lots of startups are coming, and they are having shared spaces because they don't have full-time utilization of these spaces, and they have to utilize these spaces for 2 to 3 hours because they need uh, uh, some fixtures, to be there. So they utilize these places for 2 to 3 hours, 4 hours, maximum 6 hours, or half an hour a day, half of the day. And this actually opens up the various new opportunities for them. And this helps them to make their relations. And many times they have observed that they started with some business, but because they were sharing the space and they developed their network, they came in the contact with many persons and they got different, information about other business, and they got attracted and then they established that business. So that gives the another opportunity. So that's the importance of technologies. And of course, security is very much concerned always during this COVID-19 situation or earlier. Always we are concerned about the security, and because you have unlimited number of opportunities, just because of the technology, definitely you feel secured, and that gives a sense of security. For the main area of my interest, that's research and development. Of course, because technology, as they gives you the space to develop, to innovate, to invent, at the same time, technologies has the most uncertain thing, that they become obsolete very fast. So every time you have to be ready to search for new. You cannot depend on one type of technology forever. Like if we are using Google Meet today, we will not be depending on Google Meet or this type of media only for coming 5 years. We cannot depending on that. Of course, always we have to search for new, and that actually realized through research and development. So every time when you are using a technology, that gives you the impetus to go into the active research and more research. So this is the importance of the emerging technologies. Now come at the relevance of the technologies for us, like for our India, where we can say that India lives in villages, India lives in small cities, tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And very fast you can observe that even these cities and the town areas and the villages, in these villages, the online consumption of goods and services is increasing like anything. 60 to 70% of transactions of all the e-commerce companies are actually coming from these cities. Many startups, the quite a good number of startups, they are coming from small towns. Youth, they are working for many companies in the Bangalore or Pune, but they are actually stationed at some small city area. So because emerging technologies are there, you can use digital platforms, and that's why you can easily connect with the people, and you can find various portals, various other sources, social media to utilize. That's why being in the tier 2 or tier 3 cities, you are not behind. You can compete with them at the same pace because emerging technology are there. So that's another opportunity for the small cities. Due to emerging technologies, of course, inputs are very easily available. Because inputs are easily available, and you have to face less competition. Suppose you are moving to Bangalore, of course you face competition, but you are not moving to Bangalore or Pune or the Hyderabad or Delhi. But being at your own place, you have some unique idea and you apply that idea, and with that idea, you just try to establish some startup and you try to develop your network. Then, of course, various things with which you have to compete, you are not supposed to compete. So that actually reduces your cost. Suppose somebody is moving from Lucknow to Mumbai in search of some opportunity in the Bollywood movies or in the some business or something else. Then first of all, that's the thing of survival in the Mumbai, because you need at least one fine place to live there. But if you are fine here in Lucknow at your home, and being at your home, you are just supposed to develop your contacts. So that easily can be done. That can be done very easily. So that becomes the cheaper to operate. Another thing, uh, you don't actually increase the population in the in the metropolitan cities. So it ensures the better quality of life because you control pollution. This just keep you away from the hustle bustle of the fast traffic. In Delhi, people say, or in Mumbai, used to say, and when I lived there in the Madras for 4 years, then we used to say, and then in Pune, we used to say that आधी जिंदगी तो ऐसे ही बीती आएगी. And quite often we were fed up that in the morning you have to get up early because you have to pick up the bus. Otherwise, if that bus is missed, then you will be 2 hours behind the schedule. So that was the thing which actually sometimes just spoiled everything, spoiled our fortunes, that played with our future. Many times, one incident which I would not quote, I missed one very significant opportunity just because I missed my bus on that morning in the Madras. At that time, that one Madras in the 1996, it became Chennai. And another thing that the cost of living, of course, if I am stationed in Lucknow, cost of living is very low. If I just migrate to the Bengaluru or the Noida or Pune, of course, cost of living will be very high, and that actually will force me to earn more. But here, because cost of living is very low, being with my family at a very low expense, of course, I can make my fortunes more better. And another thing that is the worry of every Indian family, that's a migration. Of course, government is also worried. You can see that what happened with the all the laborers who migrated to Mumbai or Delhi and now they are returning to their homes. So that's all about the retention of talent. If emerging technologies are being used rapidly, effectively, and governments are also pushing, like you can see Atal Innovation Incubator, such kind of measures taken by the government, if they are working, and then of course talent will remain there at their place in the villages or in the cities wherever they are. So that is, of course, actually improves the economic viability of the local systems, and we can be more vocal for the local, as our honorable PM has just asked everybody to do that. So we can become self-reliant. But at the same time, what we lack in these areas, that is the availability of technocrats, availability of senior persons, availability of experienced persons. If somebody is going to have an idea to start up and living in the village or in the some small cities, then they lack that expertise which they need immediately to start up. And these inputs, these specialized inputs are not available in the small towns. That is the one flaw, that is the one limitation of being there in the small towns. Of course, this is very much there. But with the help of the social media, YouTube and other platforms, your networking, of course, you can organize webinars and you can come face to face with them and you can utilize their expertise. Uh, so because we are talking about the skills and the expertise, then definitely there are specific skills required for the techpreneurs. Techpreneurs means those who are actually trying to encash on the emerging technologies to establish their business. They are techie, they are uh, techpreneurs, and they need specific skills. And if they have these skills, then definitely they can establish their own business. And let me remind you, this is not related to the finance or cash. This is related to the your approach, your understanding about the technology, your insight about the technology, how well versed you are with the technology, and how your brain works, how more creative you are. And towards the last of the my second session, I will give you an activity on this thing that will help you very much to identify that where you have these kind of skills in your personality. And for the end of this lecture, formal skills which are required here. First thing, first and foremost important thing, that is ambition. Many times people will say that this is the negative trait in your personality, ambition. But for me, believe me, ambition is actually a guiding force. If you don't have ambition, you will not take a step forward. It is easy, very easy, when you are thinking about to move away, to give up, to withdraw. But if you remain there, if you are adamant, adamant is a negative connotation word. If you remain firm on your decision, that's the right thing. If you remain firm on your decision that no, I will not leave, I will neither I will withdraw nor I will move away. No matter how tough it is, but I will be there. I will try to realize what I have decided. Until unless it is very, very uneconomical. And when you think these things, then just remember ambition is a positive connotation word, but where it becomes negative, it becomes negative when you are not concerned about others' well-being. So that becomes your responsibility whenever you are going for the startup. Okay, whether your ambition is going to affect environment, society, your family, other persons in the negative way, then definitely you give a thought to it that whether we will start or not. Another skill which, in my opinion, which is very, very crucial for all the entrepreneurs who are looking their future in this area, that willingness to learn. Earlier, it was like that with the help of somebody, some member, elder member in the family, you opened the shop, you established the factory, and then you started working. And for the rest of the life, you will be working on that shop, you will be working in that factory. You have no worry about your future because everything was secured for 30 years, 40 years, nothing will happen. Here again, I would like to go back to KBS. This is because earlier knowledge-based systems were used to survive for 30 years, 40 years, 10 years, or 20 years. But now, in this scenario, nothing survives for more time. Means, if any knowledge you suppose you acquire today, you cannot say that this will survive, this will be there for another 5 years. You cannot say. So always you have to open up, always you have to make yourself competitive, and you will have to make yourself willing to learn more. So testing is important. You have to test yourself every time. Like us, we are testing ourselves every time. We are trying to improve because at that time when I was in a college, and then computer was very new word, and people used to look at the thick computers very anxiously. What is this? Someone used to say that, oh, don't go in that room. Some ghost is there. So so people were really afraid of all these systems. But now we are working on that. So for our generation, this was a challenging whether we are ready to learn or not. Those who were ready to learn, they succeed. Those who were reluctant, who were not ready to learn, they are there in their own place. in their own cocoon, I will say. So you need willingness to learn. Third thing that is important for being an entrepreneur in this area, that is ability to listen, like you are doing that. You are listening me from past, I think, more than half an hour, and patiently. During this period, many thoughts came and gone from your mind. With every sentence of mine, your brain will be pushing you to speak out, to say something, because somewhere you will not be agreeing with me, somewhere you will have objection with my thoughts, somewhere you will be willing to add something. But overall, if you listen, you note down, you then compile and then come with your thought, then the effectiveness of your thought will be highest. So that's the ability to listen is the most formal skill required for any entrepreneur. If you are ready to learn and ready to listen with patience, then definitely no one can stop you to going up. And alongside, of course, creativity, because creativity actually gives the birth to ideas. If you don't have ideas, then definitely something you will not be experiencing a good time. When you have creativity or ability to listen or learn, you need to be assertive and you have to be very confident. If you cannot assert on your decision making, then nobody will respect your decision. If you are into creativity, in the beginning, each one from the society will oppose you. That's where society behaves. They are not ready to listen you. Though you are always ready to listen them, but of course they will not going to accept you, accept your creativity. They will always would force you to go their way, in which they are going from the edge. So they never want to have new things. So here you have to assert, you have to remain firm on your decision, you have to remain firm on your finding or your research or whatever idea you have, and with the confidence. You don't have to be a, you know, um, misbehaved or ill-behaved, but you go with the confidence, and that's a perseverance, courage, and courage of taking risk. So here, let me stop this lecture, and I think I was very much audible to you all. You were able to listen carefully. You will able to note down what I said, and if you have any doubt, if you have any query, you can speak out here. Okay, so it's over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Arun. So now the session is open for questions and answers. So any of you, if you have queries, you can write in the chat box, or you can unmute your audio and ask.
Hello, Dr. Sandeep.
Yes, sir. I have asked the participants to.
Hello.
Yes, now the session is open for questions. Dr. Arun, are you able to listen me?
Dr. Sandeep ji?
Yes, sir. Just let me write in the. Now the session is open for questions. Participants may write their questions in the chat box, or they can unmute themselves and ask the question directly to Dr. Arun.
Hello, Dr. Sandeep ji.
Yes, sir. One question the participant is asking.
Sir, am I audible?
You are audible to me, but I don't think you are audible to Dr. Arun.
Okay, okay.
So let me talk to him.
Okay.
You can write your question in the chat box.
Okay, sir. Yeah, I'm writing it.
Sandeep ji, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Am I audible to you?
Hello.
आपने अपना ऑडियो शायद आपने
Hello,
अपना
Sandeep ji.
जो आपके सिस्टम का साउंड जो है आपने
हेलो
शायद
संदीप
कम
जी, आवाज
किया
आ
हो।
रही है?
हाँ, आपकी आवाज आ रही है।
आपकी आवाज मुझे नहीं आ रही है।
But participants can ask directly to Dr. Arun by unmuting themselves. Shalika, you said that you will be asking questions. Just unmute yourself and ask question.
Sir, am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay. Am I audible to Arun sir also, right?
Just you ask your question. Hello. I think you have minimized the sound of your system, or you just maximize the sound. The participants are asking questions, and I'm able to listen to them. So just if you do that, they will also be. You can also listen to them. Yes, Shalika, you can write your question in the chat box.
Okay, sir. I'm writing it down.
All other participants, if they wish to ask questions, they can ask question in the chat box or directly by unmuting themselves.
Sir, actually, this happened twice that when I'm writing down the question in the chat box and when
Sandeep
I'm
sir,
sending it to you, it's getting failed.
Yes, you're audible.
any query?
Yeah.
Because I'm not able to see any query here in the chat box.
Okay. Are you able to listen now? Participants are requested to send their questions in the chat box.
Sir, I tried to send the question in the chat box, but it's getting failed again and again.
Okay, tell me the questions. I will write in the chat box.
Post COVID-19, what changes we are going to see in the HR practices?
Hello?
Because yeah, sir, can you hear me? Hello.
I am writing your question. What changes post COVID-19? What changes?
Sir, we are going to witness in the HR practices.
I received a query. Am I audible to you all?
Yes, yes.
Excuse me?
Yes.
I hope I'm audible to you all.
Yes, you are audible.
I received query from the Mrinal Garg. With the advent of new technologies, there is a survival issue for many traditional businesses, and along with that, the culture and traditions are also dying out. So, how can we make our current technology friendly businesses go hand in hand with the culture? Yeah, very correct uh, question or the concern with the society. Of course, with the advent of new technologies, survival is very challenging in the present time. And it is visible also in the movement of the laborers from the metros to their places in the villages. So if we remain there at our place, which I actually showed you in my presentation also, if we remain at our place, utilize the technologies along the side, we take care of the environmental impact and the social impact. Here I will ask you all, because you are the youth and you are the future of the nation. You all have to put focus on both environmental impact as well as social impact, because if you go after the guidelines of the NGT, that's a National Green Tribunal. National Green Tribunal straightway takes care of both social impact as well as environmental impact. So if you remain stationed there in your place, in your village, in your city, wherever you are, and you take care of the environment at that place and utilize the technology for the business purpose, and you make your business eco-friendly as well as socio-economic friendly, means friendly with the people, friendly with the systems, friendly with everything, then of course there will not be any a threat for the survival. And traditional as well as advanced, both will survive together. So I think you got your answer, Mernal. And another question which I have from Sandeep Kumarji. What changes we are going to witness in business post COVID-19? Yeah, it's too early to say anything regarding this, but definitely one thing we are going to see very soon, and it's happening right now also. We are going to see the common use of all the emerging technologies, which I mentioned in the form of IoT, which I mentioned in the form of other technologies, using the apps, using the digital platforms. You will be using all of them quite usually, commonly, and of course there will be a hybrid operational model. You will be working in the digital as well as in the semi offline mode. So that will be a new normal after this COVID-19. It is not going to be that you come back to the normal which you were having in the January 2020. but now it will be a new normal. Okay. Uh,
Sir, am I
any
audible to Arun?
query from anyone? Yes, I have one more query from the Dr. Kamlesh Kumar Maurya. Thank you, sir, for this query. He writes, what about local levels MSc business opportunity? Please highlight some sectors. Uh, Here I'll say that whenever we talk about MSME, micro, small, and medium enterprises, then take the example of any small factory in which 15 or 20 people are working. Okay, they take any agro-food industry, they are working in the villages or in the town area. Then definitely using these technologies, they can contact their customers, their suppliers, and others experts from the outside, and they can encash their technologies. So emerging technologies can be of a great help for the upliftment or the development of the MSMEs. uh, some few months back, I was teaching some of my students from the history background. They were much concerned about those businesses which actually somewhere disappeared in the Indian economy, like the traditional businesses. So I told them that if we start them, we want to give them a fresh start, then definitely we can utilize the emerging technology like internet technology, digital technology. So digital platforms can help us. So Dr. Moria, I think I answered your query. Another query I have from Subia Zahir. Uh, what are the drawbacks in the business sector and their impact on economy post COVID-19? Do these technologies can help in developing economic sector again to that very stages it was before? Uh, that I can't say, and I'm very much sure I have said earlier also. You are not going to have that normal which you were having earlier, like you were there in the January 2020. That will be a new normal after this post COVID-19 situation. It doesn't matter whether we are developing economy or developed economy. What matters actually that how we will be moving out. I don't think that we will be moving out so freely. And second thing, that's the economy. We always want to welcome the change. If one change has ensured the effective and efficient and economical operation, then definitely we are not going to take a step back to that normal where we were spending more. So every entrepreneur would like to save the money. And when that money is saved and the quality is also improved, then nobody would like to spend more. So we are not going to have that normal which we were having earlier. Definitely, many things will change, many things. So that will be a completely new normal for us. And another query I have from Ms. Rajni Sukla. Uh, what should we do if an employee is diagnosed with COVID-19? I think clear-cut guidelines are there from the government of state and government of India that that employee will be sent in the quarantine and will follow all the medical guidelines, all the instructions from the doctors. Nothing. We cannot think about even asking him to leave. We have to accommodate each and everyone. If we don't hold the hand of each other, then nobody will survive. That our business people need to understand. That sacking the people, retrenchment, and asking people to leave, that is not going to help them. We have to accommodate, we have to go together, move together to emerge out of this situation. And we have best wishes from my friend, Dr. Tushar. Thank you, sir. and we are missing you in Lucknow. You last time visited Lucknow, but we were so preoccupied that we couldn't spend time together for hours. That was a very little time. Thank you, sir. So,
Okay,
Dr. Sandeep, if there is no more query, then I can switch over to the next presentation, because time is 12:25, and by 1 p.m. we have to bind out.
okay, sure, sure. So, do you have more to present in this session?
So, Sandeep ji, okay, sir, thank you. So, I think all of you were provided with this file earlier, and so far this file is concerned that tells you what is the importance of the education, and so far the present education system is concerned, that is actually not helping us. Many times all the people from all the platforms have raised the voice that present system is not helping us, that is not enhancing our skills. So what is the problem with that? If you go through this story, then you easily find that this chap from the Bengaluru is able to earn huge amount, which we will not be able to earn in our whole life. And at the same time, we are suffering from the anxiety of losing job, we faced a question this time. Also during COVID situation, everybody is afraid, every person. So what is the best, whether higher education is desirable or not? I don't have the right answer, and I don't have the clear cut answer for this, but of course together we can find out the answer. First of all, whenever you are deciding to be an entrepreneur, when you take this decision that you want to start your business, how can you do that? First of all, you need to identify what is your purpose exactly. Whether you want to be a self-employed people, whether you want to have flexible career so that you can grow with your career, at the same time you can enjoy both. You want to have laddu in both of your hands. Third thing, you want to work on your unique idea. Fourth, you want to start a small enterprise, which is the starting point of a bigger business in the long run. Or you want to set up a business platform for other family members. So let me answer each one by one. If you have your purpose to be self-employed, then just remember, self-employed, if you want to be, then you have to have a highest level of patience. Along with patience, you have that much confidence, that much creativity, everything, because you are the lone fighter with your idea, and with you are the lone fighter to rest of the world. Everybody will be questioning you, and you have to defend yourself at the same time. So while you are thinking about your business, you are taking necessary steps to establish yourself. At the same time, you have to counter the society also, because society is not going to support you. That is for sure. Uh, Second, if you want to have a flexible career, okay, fine, you can have that too. But in that, you will not be having that kind of freedom which you can have in your business. You will be having anxiety, you will be putting legs on the two boards, and then what happens, I think you understand very well. Third, if you want to have your unique idea, you want to work on that, then definitely the same situation to be self-employed, because you are employing your idea, you are establishing your idea, and it is not necessary that all actually they think on the same lines, or they just have the same idea. So challenges will be unique, because idea is unique. Definitely, challenges will be unique. Uh, Fourth and fifth, almost same. When you want to have a enterprise, in the beginning you just want to start with the small steps, and later on you would like to have a bigger business, and thinking about the business for the generations. Here, actually, this is the catch of all the, I think, motivation talks about the entrepreneurship. If you want to be an entrepreneur, or you want to be a in the family business, then definitely you have to take example from the plant. If you plant sapling today, definitely it will take time, and after a period of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it will start giving you fruits. It is not possible that you plant this sapling today and you have fruits tomorrow. Definitely everything takes a time. So you can start with the small steps, and then you can see it to growing big, and to that period you have to have patience. Now, how it is going to be realized? You need to have 10 steps. These are the designated steps given in all the, all the manuals on the entrepreneurship. Everywhere you will find these 10 steps: that select your business idea, do your research, make a plan your finances, choose a business structure, pick and register your business name, get licenses and permits, choose your accounting system, set up your business location, get your team ready, promote your small business. Everybody, every single business institution, business school, trainers, everybody is telling, 10 steps to be a successful entrepreneur. But I am not going to stuck here. I will focus on those things which are not covered here, and these are these 5 things. First thing, that's the personal ability. Second, fears and challenges. Third, background and strengths. Fourth, decision making. And fifth, self-awareness and self-esteem. Uh, First thing, that is a personal ability. Every person is, indifferent between two things: whether to be educated or not. In your early childhood, you might, all of you, I think, along, including me also, we have faced the similar situation in our early childhood. During that time, we were more interested into play, while our parents were used to, scold us and to push us कि पढ़ ले जिंदगी बन जाएगी, है ना, otherwise what you will do. They were always concerned about that, what we will do in our life. They were hardly thinking about that, what type of person we will be in the elder age. Rather, they were more concerned that what we will do in our life, because society thinks like that. Society want to make sure that at the age of 60 you live happily, but society never looks on your ability. They never trust your ability. They always want to superimpose their dreams and their fears and their success on you. So that's where you need to identify your personal ability, because this is the thing which is going to help you whenever you will face the situation in which you need exact decision. I'm adding word exact here because many times our society teaches us that just do this thing and that thing also. Suppose you want to take a break after 12th class to prepare yourself for the higher studies. Then people will start say that, "Hey, kya kar raha hai? Please try to enroll in some course so that your future is not at a stake. So please try to enroll in some course and just keep on doing this thing also." That's where they start doubting on your personality. They start doubting in your on your ability. Uh, I know that I am talking to psychologists, and Dr. Tushar is here, Dr. Sandeep ji is here, and many of you uh, are expert in these things. At the same time, I am focusing on this thing also because when you are able to identify your ability, then you just can imagine how successful you are. Until the time you are not able to identify your ability, then always you would like to listen what society is saying. But when you are confirmed about your ability, you know that how you can upgrade yourself, then definitely you will tell them that this is the thing, this is for your benefit, and you are going to accept it. Then all of you will survive. Otherwise, none of you will survive. So that's where personal ability is important for any entrepreneur. Second thing, that's the fears and challenges. Fear is the first thing, challenge is the secondary. We always live in a fear. We upbringing is done in that way that we start to even trying to feel the fear of fear is not there, but we are just groomed like that. So while parents or society, they are actually taking our concern, taking our care, then they need to tell us, don't go there, वहाँ सांप हो सकता है, don't go there, you can fall, you and don't go there, you get injured, don't do that, you will be into trouble. So every time they show us some fear, and through that genesis, we start presuming fears in every single step. Here, I will always say that think like a child. Child has no fear. And- But the challenge is different thing. When challenge comes in your way, then try to take a jump and go towards the back side of the challenge, and you will see opportunity. That trait every entrepreneur must have. Third thing, background and strengths. What you had in a background, never ignore your past. Many times people will say that forget what happened in the past and start fresh for the future. I will never say, because I know that during Mughals times our economy was the most successful economy in the world. We were having the highest percentage of GDP, and after 500 years we have developed so much, we have a huge technological base with us, but still we are not having the highest contribution to the world trade or global trade. So we need to realize, we need to remind us ourselves that we were that much successful during the Mughal era, and we can be that much successful in the future. So what was our background and what has been our strength, where we have lagged, that we have to note down. Okay, where we have lagged behind, what actually became the most crucial thing in the economic history, due to which we are not in a position to hold that status for us. Fourth thing, that is a decision making. Quite often we regret the decision taken by us. Don't do that. If you want to be a real entrepreneur, never try to disrespect your decision. Whatever decision, no matter loss is there, profit is there. Profit and loss, nothing. But what matters that whether you want to live with your decision or not. And that for that purpose, you have to be fair enough with the decision making skills. How you take decision? You take decision in haste, definitely you will after some time you will regret on that decision. But if you don't take decision in a haste, rather you take calculated decisions, then definitely you can live with your decision. And the last, of course, this is always important. That's the self-esteem. If you respect yourself, if you respect your ideas, then definitely if your esteem, self-esteem is very high, Psychologically, you are the most fit person to take any challenge. So this was not covered in the 10 step, but it has to be there. So from my side, always there are 10 plus 5, 15 steps will be there, or skills will be there to start your business. Now come at the point, ability, because that was the first thing. How you will identify that for what you are able, because that is a very difficult thing to identify yourself that you are able. How will you identify that you whether you are able or not? Just do one thing. Never think about I. Always think about we. WEV. So never think about I. If you do that, then definitely you will increase your ability, because I cannot do anything and we is capable to do anything. So, and we means what you are and what you have. So whenever you want to identify what you are able for, try to take stock of your or our means. I have specifically mentioned OUR in capitals because whenever someone asks you that what stock you have, then you start noting down मेरे पास fridge है, मेरे पास cooler है, मेरे पास AC है, I have that much of rupees in my bank. You never talk what you people all together you have. Here, you just take stock of your and our means. Will this really work? Being educated or be skilled or active learner only will work when you are able to identify that whom you have in your friend circle, whom you have in your household, whom you have as a family friend, whom you know, whom you can meet, whom you can call. Then only it will matter whether you are uneducated or skilled or active learner. No matter. So that story actually never negate that being educated is not a good thing, but it actually opens up the secret that it never matters whether you are educated or uneducated. What matters whether you are giving the importance to those things which actually make yourself able. Being educated, it doesn't mean that you try to ignore your ability. Being educated means you start giving importance to your ability. And how will you go? Just go in the part one. First, primary or basic needs. For these needs, hardly you need any education. Even if you don't have any education, you can arrange food, clothes, shelter, support, security, everything for you. Daily activities, earning, living, everything you can do, no matter you are educated or not. But for these needs, definitely you have to have some extraordinary ability, and which actually comes from the training or from the some sort of education. In the absence of education or training, you will not be able to pursue your career, profession, social activities, recognition. Social activities, sometimes you can do that, of course, even without a formal education, but you will not be able to have that wisdom which actually comes from the education. There are very limited number of cases where wisdom comes only as its own without any education. But so far, most of the times you need a formal education for this purpose. But it is not necessary that only through education you will be able to have that wisdom. Sometimes you are educated, but you lack wisdom. So in that way, you can understand that for what you are able. Now come here to take stock of our means, you must answer following, because you have taken stock of your means what you know, what you don't know, what you have, what you don't have. But now here you want to take a stock of our means by how many resources you are actually surrounded. Here you need to understand yourself. This is not something which is related to your education. This is something which is related to your inner self. Means during challenges, during tough time, whether you remain calm and composed or you become disturbed, excited, or perturbed, or sometimes very angry. Okay, how actually you took up the things, how you react to any challenge or any situation. So this is what you are from your inside. No matter how much qualified you are or how much you are not qualified at all. Second thing, what do I know? These can be a hard skills and the soft skills. You can polish, enhance your skill set for the sustainable life, for the food, shelter, everything. And third thing, whom do I know? Here comes the catch, main thing. That's the people. Uh, in the network marketing, whenever you will go for the network marketing, people will tell you that if you want to earn something for a year, then plant some crop or some plants, you will be able to earn for a year. But if you want to earn for the ages, for the generations, then do the people's farming. Means do the farming of people. Means just make contacts, increase your networks, and that network will earn for your generations. So here, this is important. Whom do I know? Then in the part two of this activity, you must listen some success stories, that how Ambani became Ambani, and how Ratan Tata behaves, how Mahendra behave, and what are the teachings of the Ajim Premji, and some success stories from your area. And then third part, that is a decision making ability. So that's what you have to do to take stock of your means or our means. Now I am going for the activity. Uh, till this point, if any doubt you have, you can write down in the chat box. I will consider that. Okay. Otherwise, I am moving forward. So when I am going to activity one, I think you are ready with your pen and copy or mobile, wherever you write. When you try to know yourself and your resources, then some activities are given in the upcoming slides. Okay, you are supposed to fill up the boxes below to estimate your resources available at various point of time. Some are ready to utilize while some need to be explored, but just a scratch away. And you have to find some resources as their need is realized during the journey. So you are supposed to take a stock of all the means available to you. So these are the box visible to you. Note down, okay? The first slide that is showing you, try to list all your qualities, abilities, challenges, and shortcomings. Whatever quality, ability you have, whatever challenges you think you have faced or you can face, or they will be affecting you, and during these challenges or tough times, what are the shortcomings which affects your performance. Okay, after that you can list what formal or professional skills or competencies you have. Suppose in my case, I can say that I can speak for hours, I can give lecture. That's my professional skill. I will write that. My core competence, that is, suppose I can be a good mentor for these students. That can be my core competence. So likewise, you might be having some formal and professional skills and competencies. Note down them. Then you can note down that what are the inherent strengths and weaknesses in your personality, which matters for your profession or the profession in which actually you are looking forward to join very soon. So whatever inherent weaknesses or strength you have. For example, sometimes you are not able to find out that how you behave when something goes against your thinking or against your vision or against your dream. Many times we people used to make a opinion about something or make a suppose we are expecting something that is going to happen, but somehow that doesn't happen. Like in my case, I have that strong weakness in my personality. If something doesn't go in my way as I was expecting, then for that particular second or a minute, I will be little bit, very um, irritate, and I will be very, very, um, what I say, that I become out of control, but I will not say, but of course, I become very uneasy. So I have to control myself that whenever things are not going as I was expecting them to be. So this is an informal or inherent weakness of my personality. Whenever things are not happening like what I was expecting earlier, then definitely I become little bit worried, little bit uneasy. You can note down these things. And the strength is that if I am in that situation in which some challenges or some tough time I am facing, then my brain start working more fast and very soon I will be able to find a solution. So that's a inherent strength of my personality. So similarly, you can have that inherent strength or weaknesses in your personality alongside the professional skills and competencies. And the third thing, you can explore what uh, network you have. No matter you know somebody or you don't know somebody. Suppose I'm in a profession, I'm in the management faculty, but at the same time, I have my relations with the Dr. Tushar. I have my relations from the science area also. I have relations with the people from the uh, other background, like I told you that some of the history students, they were taking advice from me, while I have nothing to do with the history. I am simply coming from the management background, but I still have many students from the history background, from the political science background. They used to take advice, they used to discuss with me. So, whatever your personal, professional, remote, unaccessible network you have, you can explore that network. And now that network, you must list out. Even someone is not in your network, but that is your acquaintance. You have seen him there somewhere. You just know his or her name. Sometimes you don't know his or her name, but you know that what that person actually do. Then only note that person name, try to reach to him, and try to find out okay, whether that person can be of any help for you. Uh, how this actually helps the entrepreneurs? That actually applies to the effectuation principle. Whenever uh, you have taken the stock of your resources, what you have with you, that actually makes your decision making very, very effective. because whenever you are going to take a decision, then you are not taking decision for you only. You are taking decision for the ages. You are taking decision for the time, because this decision is not going to help you only. Many times, all the times, we commit this single mistake and which affects the generations. इसीलिए एक शायरी कही जाती है कि लम्हों ने खता की थी और सदियों ने सजा पाई है. Whenever you take a decision in one moment and you think that you have taken decision, this will affect you, you hardly give it a thought that this decision is going to affect generations. So always, whenever you are entrepreneur, you have to be that much concerned that whatever you are taking, whatever you are giving, whatever decision you are taking, then these decisions are going to be a very effective for all the people who are in some manner or other manner or directly or indirectly associated with you. So this principle, effectuation principle, is very handy in all the situations of life. For students, this time in the COVID situation, very important thing, that's a decision whether they will continue with their education, or if they want to continue, then how they will be continuing with their education, and whether they will be going for the higher studies, whether they will be moving out of their hometown, whether they will remain their hometown, where they opt out the studies on the online medium, or they will opt out the studies in the offline medium in some universities and schools, colleges. Similarly, for homemakers, whether they will move out to the market or the malls, because malls are open now, to buy something, or they will just order on the online platforms. For business class, whether they will invest more or they will just have patience and see the wave, that what way this wave is going and how economy is opening up, how unlock 1 or unlock 2 will be functioning in the coming 30 days, and then they take decision. So effectuation principle helps you to take stock of everything which you have, because for management people, for me, nobody is my enemy. Nobody is waste for me. Many times you are fed up with some person and you say, talking to him is waste. बेकार आदमी है एकदम, किसी काम का नहीं है. Many times you make these sentences about many persons. But believe me, when you become entrepreneur, every single person, even a grass in your lawn, that becomes useful for you. A small insect becomes useful for you. If you are having a nursery, then you can understand the importance of insects. If you are into that business of the flowers, you can understand the importance of insects. So believe me that everything matters for you, and you cannot survive without these surrounding people and surrounding organisms, surrounding systems. So always try to take a stock. So here I would like to end with this slide, this presentation, and then you will be completing this activity because time is too short. I think later on you can submit to Dr. Sandeep sir, and you can write down whatever queries you have in the chat box also. Who is perfect or not perfect entrepreneur? Perfect entrepreneur or not perfect entrepreneur, just a word. If you are not innovative, not trying to think creatively, definitely it becomes very crucial when you are into some business. During this COVID-19, those who actually were very innovative, they were not afraid uh, to get unsuccessful. They always try to learn to take a risk. They are always perfect entrepreneur. If you keep on pursuing, if you never afraid of failing, If you have that skills in your personality, that whatever problem you have, you just start thinking that how I can make this problem an opportunity, then you are a perfect entrepreneur. But in fact, nobody is perfect in this world. Every time you have to be conscious. This is your consciousness which actually makes you perfect entrepreneur, and that's a secret which is never written anywhere. That's your consciousness. If you are conscious towards the surroundings, if you are conscious about the systems, then definitely you will be creative, you will be persuasive, you will be able to take risk, you will be try to solve the problem. Whenever you face problem, never face problem from one side. Always try to go either on the top or in the bottom of the problem. Then you will see that this problem is not a problem, rather this is opportunity. And at that time you can find those persons or systems which actually are pushing that opportunity for you, and which is appearing problem to you. So whenever you have the view, top to bottom view, then that problem becomes an opportunity for you. So that's where I stop. You can complete the activity and upload later on. And for now, I open this session for the feedback and the any queries if you have. You can submit feedback for my session, what you have learned and what specific characteristics you have as you think. And every time I find myself worst student. So I think that I need suggestions to improve myself, to learn more, and so suggestions are always welcome. So it's over to you, Dr. Sandeep.
Thank you, Dr. Bhadoria, for your very informative and very applied lecture. And participants are also giving good feedback. It was a wonderful session. It was engaging. It was informative, and so many compliments are there for you. So I personally think it was a good mix of the basics of the entrepreneurship and how we are going to apply what we have learned during our sessions in our practical life also. It was a good uh, combination of basics and as well as the practical aspects. So I request the participants to just prepare themselves if they are looking for uh, opportunity in the area of entrepreneurship. So some basic skills are required. Some personal traits are equally important for that. And you need to prepare yourself for that. This taking behavior is also required for you to be even in your routine. So in this case, I try and your feedback as well as uh, the activity you are putting you can activity to this number. And you can directly write. You can see a lot of compliments are there, Dr. Badoria. So with this, I'd like to close the session and for vote of uh, I would invite Soumya. She is a PhD student in the area of industrial and organizational psychology at the Department of Psychology, DHU. Now, to you, Soumya. Vote of
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my privilege today to propose a vote of thanks on this special session of Udyog Care Talks. My heartfelt thanks to Dr. Arun Bhadoria sir for his excellent and engaging lecture on entrepreneurship opportunities and emerging technology. With the pandemic situation being what it is, this topic is very close to our hearts, and sir, your inputs today have been invaluable. As sir said, change is inevitable, and it is very important to get with the times and embrace all the emerging technologies such as IoTs, apps, and other digital platforms, and make use of all their operational possibilities and opportunities. The 15 steps to consider for becoming a successful entrepreneur was also very informative. So, thank you very much, sir, for taking time out of your busy schedule to address us all today. I would also like to thank the Society of Industrial and Organizational Psychology, Varanasi, and Dr. Sandeep Kumar, sir, for organizing this wonderful lecture on a topic that is very much the need of the hour. Last but not the least, my special thanks goes out to all the participants today for your gracious virtual presence. Your active participants is what made this session successful. Thank you all very much.